is to make the process as simple and clear as possible while showing you how you're protected under Texas real estate law. I'll also offer best practices to help you make confident decisions throughout what is likely the largest investment you'll ever make. Welcome to the buyer negotiation process. Purchasing a home can feel overwhelming, especially if you're new to the real estate world. But don't worry, I'm here to walk you through each step of the negotiation process, making it easier to understand and empowering you with the right tools to navigate your home purchase. My goal is to make the process as simple and clear as possible while showing you how you're protected under Texas real estate law. I'll also offer best practices to help you make confident decisions throughout what is likely the largest investment you'll ever make. Buying a home is not just about finding the perfect place. It's about negotiating terms that work in your favor, understanding your rights, and knowing what to expect. By the end of this guide, you'll have a much better grasp of what's negotiable, how the market affects your position, and how to handle the different stages of the buying process. How I will write your offer. As your real estate broker, I'm your partner and guide when it comes to making an offer on a home. I will help ensure that your offer is competitive and fair based on the home's value and current market conditions. Here is how I craft your offer. Before drafting your offer, I'll take a close look at what's happening in the housing market. If homes are selling quickly and for more than the asking price, which is a seller's market, we might need to come in strong with your offer. If there are more homes than buyers, which is a buyer's market, you may have more room to negotiate. I'll research comparable properties, also known as comps, in the area to determine the right price to offer. This helps ensure that you're not overpaying, but still offering enough to be taken seriously. Contingencies are conditions that must be met for the sale to go through, and they are key to protecting you. Common contingencies include inspection. The home must pass an inspection, and major issues can be addressed before closing. Financing. This ensures that you can back out if you can't get a loan. Appraisal. The home needs to appraise for the sales price in order to get your loan from the bank. The offer will also include details like when you want to close or finalize the sale and move in, as well as many requests for items like appliances or furniture to be included. Once I submit the offer to the seller's agent, it's time to wait for a response, and this is where the negotiation really begins. Counteroffers and how we will handle them. Once the seller receives your offer, they can respond in several ways. They might accept it as is, reject it, or send a counteroffer. A counteroffer means they agree to some parts of your offer but want to change others, such as the price or terms. And here is how we'll approach it. A counteroffer typically comes with changes to the price, closing date, or repair requests. I'll explain the details and help you decide how to respond. What are your options? You can accept the counteroffer if it works for you, reject the counteroffer and walk away from the deal, counter again with changes of your own. This begins a back and forth negotiation until you and the seller can agree. It's important to keep your priorities clear during this stage. I will help you negotiate the best deal possible while keeping in mind the value of the property and your budget. Negotiations might take a few days, and it is normal. It's part of the process of finding common ground and making sure both sides are happy with the deal. What we can negotiate in the purchase contract. There is more to negotiate than just the price. In fact, many parts of the contract are flexible, and knowing what we can negotiate will help you get the best deal. The most obvious thing to negotiate is the price itself. Depending on the market and the condition of the home, you may be able to offer less than the asking price, especially if the home has been on the market for a while. Closing costs. These are fees and expenses you pay when closing the sale, such as loan fees, title insurance, commissions, and escrow fees. Sometimes you can ask the seller to cover a portion of these costs, which can save you money upfront. Repairs or allowances. After an inspection, you can request that the seller fix certain issues or provide a financial allowance so you can handle the repairs yourself after the sale. Items to be included. If the seller has something in the home that you'd like to keep, like appliances, curtains, or furniture, you can request that it be included in the sale. But please note that anything that is built in or attached to the house is already part of the real estate. Possession date. This is the date you take ownership and get the keys. Sometimes the seller may need extra time to move out, so we can negotiate this date to work for both parties. Market conditions and how they affect our negotiation. The market conditions at the time you're buying will play a huge role in how much leverage you have during negotiations. Let's break it down. A buyer's market. In the buyer's market, there are more homes for sale than there are buyers. This gives you more power to negotiate a lower price or ask for things like closing cost assistance or repairs. Sellers may be more willing to make concessions to get their home sold. A seller's market. In a seller's market, there are more buyers than home for sale. Here, a seller has the upper hand, and you might have to offer more than the asking price, waive contingencies, or be flexible with terms to get the home you want. Why an inspection is important and how we will negotiate repairs. Once your offer is accepted, one of the most critical steps is getting a home inspection. The inspection will reveal any hidden issues with the property, from plumbing and electrical problems to roof or foundation concerns. Here's why this step is important. An inspection helps ensure that you're fully aware of the home's condition before committing to the purchase. It provides rooms for negotiations. If the inspection uncovers significant issues, we can ask the seller to fix the problems before closing. Instead of having the seller do the repairs, you may ask for an allowance or a credit to cover the cost of repairs after closing. Or if the repairs are costly, we can ask the seller to reduce the price to reflect the work that needs to be done. Important to note, sellers are not obligated to agree to our repair requests at all. They may refuse or negotiate a different solution. Some sellers may choose to sell the home as is and make no repairs at all. If we can't agree with the seller on how to handle the repairs, you can choose to walk away from the deal. In this case, your earnest money will be refunded depending on the terms of your contract. Negotiating repairs can extend the closing process. If the seller agrees to make repairs, we'll want to re-inspect the property to make sure everything was done properly before you close. What happens if the appraisal is low? Sometimes the home appraisal, an assessment of the home's value by a third appraiser, comes in lower than the offer price. When this happens, it can complicate the loan process because lenders won't usually approve a loan for more than the appraised value. Here is what we can do. Ask the seller to lower the price. We can request that the seller reduce the price to match the appraised value. If the seller won't lower the price, you can choose to pay the difference out of pocket, which may not be ideal but could help you keep the deal alive. And if you believe the appraisal is inaccurate, we can challenge it, providing additional comparable homes or comps that support your offer price. Appraisal waivers and when and why you might use one. In certain cases, you might consider waiving the appraisal altogether, particularly in a competitive market where homes are selling fast. However, there are risks to doing so. If you're confident the home is worth the price you're offering and don't want to risk losing it in a bidding war, an appraisal waiver might make your offer more attractive to a seller. Waiving the appraisal means that you could end up paying more for the home than it's actually worth. This could affect your financing and leave you with less equity if you need to sell the home later. Other important considerations. Earnest money. This is a deposit you put down to show the seller that you're serious about buying the home. If the deal falls through for reasons covered in your contingencies, you may get this money back. But if you back out for reasons not covered, you could lose the deposit. Title insurance. I'll ensure the seller provides clear title to the property, which means that there are no legal issues like unpaid taxes or liens that could affect your ownership. Title insurance helps protect you against these problems. Home warranty. Sometimes we can negotiate for the seller to include a home warranty, which can cover the cost of repairs for major appliances and systems during the first year of ownership. Closing timeline. The timeline for closing the sale can be negotiated to fit your needs. This includes the time needed for inspections, securing financing, and any repairs that need to be made before you move in. Negotiating a home purchase can be a complex process, but with the right knowledge and support, you can navigate it confidently. By understanding what's negotiable, how the market affects your options, and how to protect your interest, you'll be better prepared to make decisions that are right for you. As your real estate broker at Showstopper Realty, I'm here to guide you through each step, ensuring that you get the best deal possible while staying protected under Texas real estate law. Hello, everyone. My name is Andika Duncan. I'm the broker of Showstopper. Hello, everyone. My name is Andika Duncan. I'm the broker of Showstopper Realty, and today we have White Jacobs and Associates online with me, and we are talking about credit repair. Can you please introduce yourself in a few words, and then we get started with the questions?
My name is Ashley Mitchell, and I am one of the owners of White Jacobs and Associates. And just a little bit about me, I've been in this field, in this industry for over 20 years now, since May of 2004. And we're here to provide as much knowledge, build as much value, so that hopefully people don't need to utilize the services, and they can make some decisions, some skills, some moves on their own, to get them to home ownership that much faster. And work with Eric.
Okay, my name is Eric Saffold. I'm a consumer credit analyst here, and I work underneath the lovely Ashley Mitchell. And I've had about 20 years experience too, but in different things. I started off back out of college. I'm not going to tell you how long ago that was. As a loan officer, I worked along with a broker, and I was assistant broker in real estate, so I do understand your world. I also worked in debt settlement. I was a financial analyst, and now I am a consumer credit analyst with White Jacobs and Associates.
So we have a lot of experience, combined experience together today with us. Okay, let's jump right into it, and let's start with your company and tell me what makes White Jacobs different from other credit repair companies.
So really just the biggest difference for us is not only the longevity that we've been in the industry. Between my partner and I, we have over 40 years of combined experience in the industry, as well as one of the things that sets us apart from just about your average run-of-the-mill credit repair company is we have an in-house law firm. It is limited to the scope for our clients that are in the state of Texas, just because that the law license is to practice in Texas, state only. But it does really kind of give us a great network in the event that we do have to go outside of the state of Texas, and just having just that legal knowledge recourse makes all the world of a difference. So
awesome. Awesome. I think when people are very serious about repairing their credit and they might have some hiccups in there, obviously, then it really makes them feel comfortable having someone that can legally also help them out. So
Absolutely.
that's amazing. All right.
Absolutely.
What types of negative items can you help them remove?
Well, there's quite a lot of items that we can help them remove, such as charge-offs, collections, lates, bankruptcies, uh, old addresses that, I tell our clients, hey, we really need to cut the umbilical cord because we don't want those old addresses to be following you and possibly negative information, inaccurate information, that's for sure. Collections, repos, foreclosures, public notices, and a little bit much more. Is there anything else that I may have missed?
I think that's the full gambit of it. Just, if it's on the report, it's definitely something that, if it's either hurting you or reporting inaccurately, it is something that we can challenge.
Okay, so before we get into the details of how do you do it, some people think that they can just go ahead and repair their credit on their own. Why would you tell them not to do that? And what are the problems that they can face on their own?
So this has really been, and I'm so glad that you asked this, because this has been my soapbox really since, probably the last 4 or 5 years. Obviously, as technology continues to improve and increase, the bureaus make it very easy for an individual to go online. Oh, look at this item, I'm going to dispute it, or, and really, in essence, almost kind of making them feel like they are the credit expert, giving them that ability to do so. But what a lot of people don't know is it really does compromise on the overall integrity of the dispute. And you really do lose the element of somebody actually looking at your report at the bureau level and making sure that dispute code is entered in correctly. In addition, everything that's being made available online over the last few years, dispute codes are taken away. So since I've been in the business, there have always been kind of an 18 to 20 dispute codes that could be used to be placed with the bureaus online. You don't even have half of that. Equifax, I think, only gives you maybe 6 to 8 actual dispute codes to enter in. Experience about the same as is TransUnion. So they've really taken away from that ability to be very specific, very precise when you do things online. And then once that information is verified, because they're just simply verifying those 4 points of data: name, date of birth, social, address, then it makes it really difficult for any other item to be, investigated or accurately looked at, because those main data points have already been verified. So unless you know what you're doing, we advise clients, don't do anything online. Really try to stay away from that. And unless you actually do know that, hey, it is reporting inaccurately, this shouldn't be there. But also mail in the disputes. You really do lose that human element when it's just a person entering in the disputes online, versus when you're mailing it in, because it has to go through just roughly, I think, like 8, as far as what we've counted, is 8 hands by the time it leaves our office, and then actually ends up, the bureaus actually end up responding. So,
And piggybacking on that too, you mentioned technology. What's going on with AI with these credit bureaus?
It's going to be really interesting to see over the next couple of years what's going to happen with AI. Equifax has invested $253 million into AI software. They did that last year. So we're going to see a lot more of that coming up, where you're going to be calling in and you're not going to be talking to a customer service person, or just the whole system is completely and entirely automated, as the bureaus are making it harder and harder to actually mail in disputes, as well as talk to a customer service person over the phone.
So it sounds to me like it should be a no-brainer hiring the professionals versus going on your own, because not only you are missing out on information that you don't know and hurting yourself in the long run, and you may not be able to achieve the same results at the same speed that you can.
It's a great way to characterize it. Yes, ma'am.
There's no
Okay.
AI here. She's real. No, we're not clones, so you're not going to get that when you call a real human voice. And
Right.
we
Yeah. Good point.
Mhm.
Okay, so the next question, how does credit repair affect my credit score long term?
Yeah, so I mean, it's just going to help, obviously, assuming that the person is, that credit repair really is the right fit for that individual. But it's just going to help from everything, everything that you've seen from clients, how it
Yeah.
impacts them, not only with, getting qualified for a mortgage, but, homeowners insurance.
And that's very true. It's amazing what we do over the short bit of time that we utilize our talents here and our skill set. And the clients have done a lifetime of damage, good decisions, bad decisions. I just call it life. We're not even talking about COVID, and it doesn't matter what your profession is. Everyone was affected. Even if you were supervisor or president of whatever company, everyone was affected. So what here I tell people, it's nothing to be ashamed of. To be ashamed of is not doing anything about it. And that's what we're here to do. So
Yeah.
that, we're going to take you hand in hand. We're going to explore. We're going to do a full diagnostic of what's going on with your credit. It's not just me. It's a big team of us out here. So we have to call you back, maybe, a little bit amount of time once we've gotten it. And it's not a fast process. So what I'm saying is, if someone gave me an opportunity to say, Eric, you have 3 to 6 months, my credit is going to be a fresh start, clean. It's better than I've ever had it. And everything that I've done in the past 10 to 15 years will be pretty much kind of turned the opposite direction. I would say yes. Well, it wouldn't matter for me personally what it would cost me, because that investment is worth me having a new future, getting a home, getting a car, being able to provide for my family, and then, getting the access to credit cards where you're not being denied. And no one likes to be denied.
Right.
And you're going to be put back on that certain level of prestige that you once were.
But I think it's also important to say that, there are people who messed up their credit knowingly, but sometimes life happens and you had a good credit all your life, and maybe you lost a job or you had a disease and you couldn't go back to work. So many other sudden, even tragic things can happen to people that will destroy their credit score, and they are not alone. I think that's a good thing, that when they contact you, at least they get a human support, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We, unfortunately, bad things happen to good people. And that really is that's the makeup of our clients, because we're not, it is an investment, and it's definitely a partnership for the term in which they are in the program. So for a lot of people that are seeking just kind of a quick fix, a temporary Band-Aid, we usually we're not the best fit for them, just because of our process and our strategy involved. And we don't like repeat business. So we want to make sure that we have
I do.
yeah, you do. And that's why it's such a good partnership for us to work with loan officers, work with lenders, because we help them one time only. And then for their loan officers, for their real estate agents like yourself, they're repeat clients. They're coming back for their second home, or hey, now they want to start going in and now they want to do some investment properties. So absolutely. But we want to be able to help them one time only, and then they're your client for life.
That's awesome. Awesome. All right. An interesting question. Will disputing items on my credit report hurt my credit?
So yes and no. And I'll explain this a little bit in depth, because we were actually discussing this earlier today as well. But let's say if a client has several older collection accounts that are on their credit report, and they haven't been disputed before in the past, there hasn't been any activity with credit repair, because you have to dispute information with the bureaus, as well as contact the creditor and or collection agency to go after them for the validation on the account. And so what that will do is, if the account's been dormant, so to speak, meaning that they haven't reported it with the bureaus in some time, then it can stir the pot, so to speak. And so everything that's kind of been laying at the bottom, that settlement will rise to the top, and sometimes it can cause the credit score to decrease, just because they're going in and they're updating information. They're not updating the data last activity, which is a statute of limitations for how long an item can remain on the credit report, but just, new data will get inputted in there. So that can happen. That can be a side effect of credit repair. or somebody disputing items on their own. The upside is that, hey, challenging that information, it could get removed, which could then also help to improve the credit score. And for some people, they do fall into the category. It's a malicious saying, but I think we've all heard of it, where it's just if they didn't have bad credit, they wouldn't have any credit. And so sometimes people falling into that category, and by having, accounts being removed, which still factors into the credit score, that that can also cause their credit score to drop as well if there's no payment history. So
Okay, so basically anybody who is going through the process and temporarily notices a decrease, that may be okay, because there is just a lot going on in the background, and everything needs to be straightened out before the score will start to go up. So
yes.
they should not panic, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Just keep it steady, but just know that, there's a lot going on initially. But definitely to steady the course, and just, and that's why we'll go through, and we do provide a lot of that credit education in the beginning, just so that this way we have the ability and, to overcome that, and also set some realistic expectations.
Can you tell me a little bit about the credit education?
Yeah.
Actually, I was going to say something about that too.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny is when we have our initial consults or our pre-qual with our potential clients that end up being our clients, we are asking a lot of questions, and we're getting deep into their personal business, because that's what we have to do. I tell them there's no need to feel bad, because you know what, I was like you too. So you know what, I feel exactly where you're coming from. So we do get into that as far as the do's and the don'ts, because when you see those scores go up, you're so tempted to, let me get that car. Let's get this furniture. Let's get these credit cards. They're like, no, don't do that, because you're
Yes.
going to turn the process around. And so we give them a lot of information and ask them to be as patient as possible. That's why we have a particular client that we look for, that fit, that individual that's willing to listen, that's willing to take our advice, do the things that we ask for them to do, because they know the end process is going to be what they want. So yes, we do educate them enough to be a little dangerous, but we don't want them coming over here doing our job. How about that?
Yeah, and I think it's very important, because even I had experience with buyers that they just got so excited right before closing that she quit her job, she went on vacation and stopped answering the phone, and there we are. She was planning to come back to the closing day to the title company, and we were panicking, running around like, oh my God, you're supposed to get your job back, get your job. And I had the lender knew another client that worked with this lady at the same place, and she got her job back for her, so we could close. But I think education is very important, and sometimes you have to repeat it a few times while you're going through the process, because it's so much information that they don't recap everything. And I think the class is amazing. They have to pay attention, and I love that you said that you are looking for the right client for you, because many times people just jump into something like, oh, I'm going to do it, and they don't really understand how serious it is, and they have to take action on their end as well.
Yeah.
Or don't take action. In that case, don't buy stuff before you're ready. Yeah.
That is a choice too.
Yes. Okay, the next question is, how do you handle disputes with the credit bureaus?
So and just to kind of piggyback on what we talked about earlier, as far as what, I don't recommend doing online disputes. How our process works is we mail everything into the credit bureaus, so that this way, it's going to get touched by, you have that element of just, the human touch. But also, sometimes we will, to escalate things, we will call the bureaus on the phone. And in this market, in this day and age, we have had to change up our process some, where in a lot of different instances, we are sending out certified registered mail to the credit bureaus. It is at a PO box, so there's not really anybody that can sign for it, but at least this way we do have documentation that confirms, verifies that yes, this is how it was sent. Yeah.
So we are talking about mostly real estate today. And when buyers are getting ready to apply for a mortgage or actually just get pre-approved first, sometimes they hear the word soft inquiry versus hard inquiry. Can you explain the difference and the effect of the credit score based on those inquiries?
Absolutely. And that's the inquiries are really, it's kind of like just a misnomer there. I've heard so many stories from an inquiry can have, impact the credit score 11 points. I've heard it can impact the credit score 5 points. And depending upon which bureau you're having credit pulled, which most lenders utilize, FICO, your Fair Isaac Corporation. I would, if you ever have some time, you want to kind of deep dive, Fair Isaac Corporation has just a ton of valuable information on their website. It's great. I'll occasionally just kind of pop on there to see what new information they put out there. And one of the new scoring codes that they have is the FICO 10T for lenders that they might be familiar with that one. But there's not really that. The higher the credit score is, the less inquiries are going to have an impact on the credit score. The lower the person's credit score is, the more of an impact that inquiries are going to have an impact on the person's credit score, because how it's deemed as though that they're shopping around really kind of in an attempt to get approved for somebody to say yes to them, as opposed to the higher the credit score is, it's deemed they're shopping around to get the best rate. And so it's with soft inquiries and hard inquiries. Soft inquiries will have a slight impact on the credit score. It's not like a consumer pulling their credit report for their own, uses. That's not going to have it's not going to adversely affect the credit score at all. But a soft one, because it's usually just involves maybe 1 or 2 bureaus, as opposed to a hard pull is actually going to be all 3 bureaus. And, it is just going to take a slighter, bigger toll on the credit score itself, which it'll take 30 days roughly for that inquiry to actually get factored into the scoring algorithm.
Okay, so this is why lenders say that when you get pre-approved, don't worry about the soft inquiry on your credit, because by the time you find a house, you put in your real application for the mortgage, then it should not affect it at all. Okay.
It's kind of, they shouldn't see too much of a score decrease. And then also, and we really do reaffirm everything that a lender's saying. So it's like, make sure that you've got, 2 months of great bank statements. So while a client is in credit repair, we're going to really do a lot of that hand holding too, that a loan officer would do, just to reaffirm it. So it's kind of like, repetition is the mother of all learning. So we're constantly like, going back in and reaffirming everything that the lender has told them, or, that their realtor, like you have told them. And it's just, hey, make sure you pay everything on time. Don't have anybody else pulling credit. Don't make any large purchases. Don't quit your job.
Yes. Yes. I think that there somewhere I've heard the 10 commands of buying a house, and there are like 10 rules, and I try to find it and post it with the description of this video, because people really need to understand that it's a serious process they're going through.
Oh yeah. Very, very serious. And that could definitely make it a lot worse.
Yes. Okay. So we talked about you're providing some credit education to them, and then also that you keep holding their hands and repeat things that they've heard from the lender, and also what you explained to them earlier. When they're going through the process, how do they get updates from you? Like how does the whole process look like when they get started with you?
So as far as results and how they can, kind of monitor things to make sure that, hey, what was talked about is actually being followed through on. And so because with our program and our process, we send everything out as though it's coming from the client. So there is really this genuine, authenticity as though it is coming from this particular client. And so the client is going to receive all of the results. So they're going to be getting correspondence back from, creditors, collection agencies, credit bureaus. And so the bureaus, the credit bureau consumer credit reports will show updates. So from there, they'll be able to see, hey, if there's any items that have been deleted, or, if an item has been verified. And then just, real simply, we just ask that the client forward it to us, because this is how we're going to know what's been resolved and or, what we need to continue to work on. And then obviously maintain communication with the lender, real estate agent, maintain that communication with you so that you know where your client is throughout the process. So if credit needs to get pulled, we need to go through, process the file for dispute removals, and then have credit pulled right away to start the process. And, because we understand the overall sense of urgency to, if rates drop, getting them locked in that loan. We understand that overall sense of urgency. But the great thing is clients do receive all of the results. So they're kept in the loop 100% of the way.
Speak of the,
Yeah, bring up the portals,
yeah.
the technology
Well,
side of it.
let's talk about the technology side, because there's going to be times where clients are calling me and they want to know how I'm looking, what's going on, and they may want to call at 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night, 9, 10, 11, 12. And sometimes I forget to turn it off on my phone. It's ringing. It's a client. I'm like, oh, okay, that's great. But what happens is we supply them with a portal. The portal is created, so they'll have their own user number, their password, basically, and also their username. And so they can go in at any time they want, and they can see exactly what we're doing from the back end all the way up to the front end. You'll see all the bureaus, what's been taken off. I mean, it's so detailed. It makes my job a lot easier. So I know in the past when I've dealt with people before, I came here that were saying we can do credit, and you're calling like, what's going on? I don't know what's going on. I paid my money. I haven't heard anything, haven't received anything. And so you're like, is this really real? Is this a scam? Well, guess what, guys? We're not. We're real. You can go and see everything about us. And then once you start getting all of the things from the bureaus, they're like, oh, this is really working. Oh, man, I had a client yesterday. Eric, I scored this, went up 13 points. I'm like, wow, we haven't even finished the first round yet. And she was so excited. She told her dad and all that, and her sister. They're calling with referrals because bring them on. Come on, bring them more referrals because we want to help everybody out there. So it's really great with the technology we have. It is getting even better. So when you ask what differentiates us from the other guys, this is just another sprinkle on the cake that makes us so wonderful, right?
Communication is definitely is key,
Mhm.
and so technology can definitely be an integral part of that for sure.
Right. So Ashley, you mentioned that sometimes when buyers are ready to go ahead and purchase that house because the rate is right there, they want to catch it. Approximately, what's the time frame of from day one when they contact you until they are able to buy a house? And I know it's not an all, everybody will be a different case, but like, tell me, like, if somebody who just needs to work a little bit on the credit and somebody who has like serious problems. So what's the time frame?
So, I would say everybody's case is different, and a lot of it, is really can be really dependent upon how many open lines of credit they have. So established, that definitely makes our process just that much faster. But I mean, on average, for most clients, I mean, we want to set realistic expectations. Start to finish is 6 months. Sometimes we go outside that 6-month time frame just because we're at the creditors, collection agencies, and credit bureaus' mercies, and we're not here to hold good credit over anybody's head. If we could turn everybody around in 30 to 45 days, we would obviously just be taking in a lot more clients. But it is a little bit of a process. Clients do begin to receive results in 30 to 45 days. But like I said, if kind of the half of the battle's already there, they already have established lines of credit, and or maybe a friend or family member has been so gracious as to add on them to an authorized user to an established line of revolving credit, that can definitely help. But we really, let's say just kind of give an example in those types of situations. We have many clients that they come to us are sitting at a 580. And then, within, let's say, 90 days, we're able to see enough success. And, we could say by looking at the consumer credit report that, hey, in all probability that they're sitting at, a 640, kind of somewhere in that range in order to qualify for, FHA or go conventional, kind of depending upon what their lender, it feels is best for them. So it could be even sooner. But as I mentioned, we will we'll go through the process, before we have the lender pull credit. And, so the lender's not having to expend a tremendous amount of money in doing a hard inquiry or doing a hard pull, is we'll make sure that there are dispute remarks removed, because sometimes that is just the fallback of, disputing items, utilizing credit repair and or a person doing it on their own, is that it will, it can cause dispute remarks to appear on an item on the credit report. And it's in accordance with FCRA laws, Fair Credit Reporting Act, that, dispute remarks be notated. Also, I know Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, that is a guideline in there where they do not like to see dispute verbiage. So just know that we do understand what, the lender's trying to accomplish, the client's trying to accomplish. And that's why we just have such a great process. It really is built towards people that are trying to purchase a home.
Awesome. Awesome.
Hopefully that answers your question as far as
that, that is a lot, yes, but very, very good answers. And I'm very glad that you go so deeply into the details, because sometimes that's going to be one thing that convinces a client to become a client. So, transparency is important.
Absolutely.
Okay, the next question. How do you address identity theft issues on the credit report? And I've been a half victim of that. I actually noticed about a year and a half ago, like a whole lot of inquiries in my report that it wasn't me, and they started to send me like mail that my credit card was not approved. Thank God they couldn't get anything in my name, but
Yeah.
I've been through that process. So yeah, tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I'm so sorry to hear that. And that's, I think just, as you being so close to, working with clients and lenders and credit report, just credit, it's, I think it's a testament to the fact that anybody really can, fall victim to identity theft, unfortunately. And so we have a really streamlined process. If somebody has been through identity theft, and it's just, there's an ID theft affidavit that we email to the client. This form is also available on ftc.gov. All you have to do is just go in and search, identity theft, and ftc.gov has a ton of really, really great information in regards to identity theft as well, in the event that a person just wants to manage it on their own. But ID theft affidavit, my recommendation is to get a police report, and make sure that you get a copy of that police report. That information is required on the ID theft affidavit. If, because it's all, one of my very, very first clients, and she was purchasing a home, had just had a baby. And pretty much since she was 13 years old, her mom had been utilizing her identity. And so we had to be just, very, very careful, because it was her mom. So we had to be very careful in filling out the ID theft affidavit and communicating that information, because, the last thing that she wanted to do was to, potentially see her mom getting arrested.
Getting in trouble.
Yeah. So, so if there are situations that are like that, we can definitely discuss that and just make sure that, we are mindful of it, in advising the client on those steps. But yeah, police report. And then if not a police report, then the form does have to be signed and notarized in front of a public notary, as well as, this is kind of something that's been recent within maybe the last, I don't know, maybe, 10 years or less. But the FTC does require, it's an FTC victim complaint number. You go online and you fill out the information online, and this way it is tracked through the FTC. And then that number has to be put on the ID theft affidavit. And that is something that the bureaus do look for, specifically, is to make sure that the ID theft affidavit does have the victim's complaint number on there. If it's not, then a lot of times you'll run into an issue where the bureaus will not properly, or they just won't address the ID theft affidavit because that crucial piece of information is missing.
So do you help people with that?
We do. We walk them through it step by step by step by step. So we can definitely assist them with it. Usually people that have ID theft issues, there are usually maybe a couple other items that they need assistance with that are from their doing. And or we also run into, a lot of times people will think that they're a victim of identity theft when in reality, it's a mixed file. So it could be like, maybe it's a, Samantha Smith and, Samantha Smith lived at 123 Main Street. And then there's a Sammy Smith that lives at, 456 Main Street. So the bureaus, how their systems, they really are designed to allow for those inaccuracies in order to create as much of an accurate database as possible. Obviously, like human keystroke error, we make mistakes. I make mistakes all the times just in typing up an email or inputting in a password. So the bureaus, their system is along those same lines, that it really does try to pull from those inaccuracies, but it can also lead to situations like a mixed file. So we're usually pretty good at going through and kind of spot checking and determining, hey, is this identity theft or is this a mixed file? Because either way, it's, taking an ID theft, dispute to the bureaus and or a mixed file. One can be a lot quicker than the other one. Just knowing exactly how that information does need to be presented to the bureaus.
I didn't even realize that they can just mix up files. That's new information for me.
Junior, senior, or or the third or the fourth, or
so it's usually if they have like a name that is very popular and maybe similar addresses or something like that.
Yeah, it'll mix it for sure. But yeah, and it's just a lot of times you'll see that with father sons just because of their name variations. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what could go wrong. Is there a way, does it happen that a creditor refuses to remove an item? And does it happen that if a negative item was removed, it reappears?
Yeah, really, really great question. And that's just to also from a legal standpoint, because with credit repair companies, if any credit repair company is guaranteeing that, hey, we can get 100% of this negative information removed, run fast, hang up the phone, because in accordance with CROA, which is your Credit Repair Organizations Act, it does state that a credit repair company cannot guarantee removal of accurate verifiable information. And as technology continues to evolve and continues to grow, what that allows creditors, collection agencies to do, and really more so specifically creditors, it allows them to back up a lot of that data. And so with your larger banks, organizations, they really are enmeshed with the bureaus. And so even if they might not necessarily have the validation, they will still continue to confirm and verify that the information is reporting accurately, unless, the client is able to provide just an overwhelming amount of information. I've dealt with some situations with Chase where it was a real estate investor that was developing a property in Hawaii. And Chase, he flew to the Beverly Hills in Chase, closed out the account, said how much is the balance, paid the balance, and they sent a statement to his old address, and 60 days later sees that the account is now past due over a small interest charge. And I mean, this wasn't, it wasn't intentional. It was somebody that had the money, somebody that paid it in full, but just a slight oversight on the interest. And Chase continued to confirm and verify the accuracy of the lates. And we fought tooth and nail in an attempt to get it removed, but Chase just dug their heels in. So that's one of the things that, we do encounter a lot of, but it's also in 2013 and 2014, the bureaus went through and had just really virtually everybody sign new contracts, new agreements that also stated that they could no longer offer pay to deletes. So kind of prior to that, like, let's say if somebody had a Chase credit card that went into, collection charge-off status, and then, they were like, hey, I want to pay it. Oftentimes Chase would allow them to, pay it in full, and then they would remove it from the credit report. And then all of that changed in 2013, 2014. They would no longer allow paid deletes. And that was just because, in my opinion, what feels like, the new contract superseded federal law, because per FCRA, it doesn't state that creditors or collection agencies have to report information. It just states that if you're going to report information, you have to ensure the accuracy associated with it. So by going through and superseding that and allowing, this agreement to take place between credit bureaus and the data furnishers, I really do feel like it does a tremendous amount of injustice to people that are our clients, that are just they're good people. They've either had come across hard times and or made some bad mistakes, and it continues to just linger on for the next 7 years. So we definitely.
So just to clarify this, if somebody has a collection account and they agree to pay it off, it will stay on the report. That's what you're saying.
Typically, yes. There are some collection agencies that will allow where you can negotiate a payment and they will remove it. Oftentimes they won't put it in writing. But with original creditors, so when you're dealing with the big banks, Bank of America, Chase, Wells Fargo, they will not do pay to deletes.
And how does that affect the credit score, even if they paid it off?
Yeah, so really, really great question. So if the charge off account is being maintained with let's say Wells Fargo, we've thrown Chase under the bus enough. But if the account is still being maintained with Wells Fargo, because how that will appear is it'll have a past due amount, which is just what the collection amount of it is, and then the rating of it is a 9, so it's a collection charge off. So not only is it collection charge off, but you also have a past due on it, which factors into the credit score, and then whatever the balance is also what the limit is, because obviously it's a closed account, you can't charge any more to it. And oftentimes you'll see it where it'll still reflect the limit, but the balance is currently exceeding the limit. So that's over 100%, maxed out on an installment line of credit, a revolving line of credit, which is on the traditional FICO is 30% of a person's credit score is based upon proportion of balances to credit limit. So just by going in and paying off a collection charge off account, what it's going to do is it's going to zero out that past due balance, and it's no longer going to appear as though it's 100% maxed out. So you really will actually gain points by paying the account off. And that is something that we also discuss with clients, just because, we're not going to have a success with every item. Right. And based upon how, knowing how these creditors, collection agencies, and credit bureaus, how they operate from just our years of experience, it really does allow us to set realistic expectations. And more than anything is just developing a strategy for the clients. That's just kind of almost an ironclad strategy that if they can do this, here's kind of typically what we can see the outcome being. And then if we do this, here's what we can see the outcome being. And then both of those two, energies combined, it really will make all the difference. And, typically in most cases will ensure that the client is going to be able to achieve what their goal is.
Yeah. So much to take in and very good information. I mean, even I hear some things that I've never heard before. So thank you for that. So just to wrap it all up, what would be the best advice that you can give to home buyers that are struggling with credit issues right now, but they want to buy? How fast can they improve? And what can they do to improve their credit score so maybe they can buy a house in the next season, next year?
Yeah, and you might have some different advice, but I'm always, and this is just going to sound so elementary, but it's really about getting back to the basics. Pay all of your bills on time. Make sure that nothing new, negative gets late. So making sure that all of your credit cards or just auto, whatever it is, just make sure that it's set up on auto pay so that you don't forget, and then all of a sudden now you have a new late payment. Make sure everything is paid on time, and then also, and that's the number one biggest contributing credit score and how your credit score is calculated. 35% of it is based upon payment history. Second contributing factor, like I mentioned earlier, is proportion of balances. That's 30% of your credit score. So just make sure you get your lines of revolving credit paid down, that the magic number, so to speak, is 30%. So if you've got a credit card that has, you know, $1,000 limit, just make sure that you do not exceed more than 30%, which is, you know, 300. When the bill comes in, pay it off. And just to do that consecutively, and we can get more micro with it as well. It's just one of the reasons why we do offer a free credit evaluation and consultation, just so that this way we have the ability and the opportunity to plant some seeds with the client. So it's a no cost, you know, no pressure evaluation, but if anything, they're going to be able to walk away from that consultation with knowing, hey, exactly what they need to do, that it's specifically, it's custom tailored to them, the items on their credit report. Because like I said, we can get more micro if they've got student loans, you know, inquiries, addresses, we can definitely plant some seeds. So some things that they could do on their own. And then maybe if they're really in a position to move forward with the services, you know, when they can kind of maybe tackle some cash flow issue. And now it's like, okay, let's tackle the credit issue, you know, definitely let us know. But the two things, pay your bills on time and just make sure your lines of revolving credit don't exceed more than 30%. And you will see a really great improvement in your credit score just by doing those two things alone.
Well, thank you so much for all the great advice. I think the biggest takeaway would be that if somebody is struggling with repairing their own credit, to contact you, and they can get some free information on what they can do on their own. And if they want to take it a step further, then they will get the personalized attention from you. I visited your Google my business page. I think you have over 800 positive reviews, overall 4.7 stars. That's like almost unheard of. So I'm sure that you guys are taking care of your clients very well. And I read quite a few of them. Everybody was super happy with the service. So if somebody wants some people to work with that are local and they're approachable and experts in the industry, then they should definitely contact you.
And Annika, you're looking at a 5-star right here. 5-star for real. No 4.7, 5-star.
I think that was the overall company. I mean, 807, I think it was. It's impressive. It's impressive.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for having us. And if you ever have any questions, or if you ever have any clients or borrowers that, you know, like kind of what we talked about, they're right on the cusp, they need 10 points, reach out to us, because that's definitely kind of an arena where we shine, because we can go and we can take a look at it and go, do this, or just do this. And here's, you know, typically the outcome. I know a lot of lenders will utilize, you know, credit expert to go in and kind of see what can be done. But sometimes there's not always a guarantee to that, or sometimes it could give wrong advice. And just for the amount of time that I've been in the business, I know that, you know, you, the lender, your client, the appraisal, the inspector, the title company, a lot more people win when a person can get closed on a home right away, as opposed to, you know, having to kind of hand tie them to credit repair for the next 6 months. So anything that we can do to add as much value to you and your book of business, and help you and help your borrowers get closed in their home ASAP, we want that opportunity. And then obviously for the clients that, hey, you know, you're looking at them, the lender's looking at them going like, we need some more time. You know, just know that those we'll handhold them, and we'll make sure that you know, that they get the service that they deserve, so that they can become home buyers in the near future.
Well, Ashley and Eric, I really appreciate your time. I think it's very important to put faces to the actual services that we are offering, so people know that we do exist and we are humans, and we want to help them, we want to work with them, and we definitely want to earn their business.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for being here today, and for all this amazing information. Thank you.
Thanks for letting us go on. We appreciate it. If there's anything else that you need from us, just let us know.
Let us know.
Thank you so much. At Showstopper Realty, we believe buying a home should be exciting and stress-free. That's why we are offering an exclusive $500 credit towards your home inspection when you buy with us. This means that you get peace of mind knowing your new home is safe, secure, and a smart investment, and will cover up to $500 of the home inspection at closing. We make the home buying process quick and simple. First, you get pre-approved for a loan so you know exactly what your budget is. Then, we help you find the perfect home that fits your needs and budget. Once you make an offer and it's accepted, we'll guide you through every step from scheduling your home inspection to negotiating repairs all the way to closing day. And at closing, you receive your $500 credit. Even if you're worried about your credit, we've got you covered. If you have credit challenges, we can help you improve it fast, sometimes in as little as 3 months, so you can qualify for a mortgage and move towards your dream home. So here is how easy it is. Just fill out the form below and we'll get in touch with you and kickstart your journey. Get pre-approved and start house hunting with our expert help. Close on your new home and receive your $500 credit towards the inspection, giving you both savings and confidence in your investment. So why wait? This $500 credit won't be available forever, and it's only for those who fill out the form now. Whether you're a first-time homebuyer or ready to move up, this is your chance to get the home you want with the added bonus of saving on inspection costs. Simply fill out the form now to claim your $500 credit and take the first step towards your dream home. There is no obligation and the consultation is completely free. So why not start today?